Section 6.4 is titled Proportional and Non-Proportional Relationships. This should be a pretty quick video. So 3 vocab terms are proportional, non-proportional, and the constant of proportionality. But when 2 quantities are proportional, that means they're constant ratios or rates. So if we look at the examples here, we have 3/1, which is a proportion, and it's equal to 6/2, which is equal to 9/3, which is equal to 12/4, because they all reduce down to 3/1. Example of non-proportional quantities would be 2 quantities with ratios or rates that are not constant, that should say. So there are 2 quantities with ratios or rates that are not constant. So 4/1 does not equal 6/2, they don't equal 8/3, and they don't equal 10/4, because when you reduce them down to their simplest form, they're not all equal. And then the constant of proportionality is a constant rate or unit ratio of a proportion, and we'll talk about those a little later on in some of the later examples. So first, let's just look at an example and determine whether the cost of coffee is proportional to the number of pounds. So basically what you're going to do is write each as a fraction and then see if they are equal or equivalent. So first we have 1 pound of coffee costs $3. Is that equal to 2/6? Is that equal to 3/9? Is that equal to 4/12? That's what you're asking yourself. Are these all equal? Well, 1/3 is reduced, but if we take 2/6 and we reduce that down, we divide the top and the bottom by 2, we also get 1/3. Similar with 3/9, if we reduce that down, we divide the top and the bottom by 3, we get 1/3. And finally, for 4/12, if we reduce the top and the bottom by 4, we get, again, 1/3. So we see that, yes, the cost of coffee is proportional to the number of pounds, because all of the rates are equal. So example 2, we want to do the same thing here. Determine whether the number of miles is proportional to the number of hours. So again, we want to just set these up as fractions or rates and then compare them. So that's what we're trying to figure out. Are those all equal? Well, 1/50th, that is reduced. But 2/70, both of those can divide by 2. So that'll give us 1/35. So you can see right away that the first 2 are not equal. So we could say that no, the rates are not equal. Therefore, the number of miles is not proportional to the number of hours. And you could continue to check if you wanted to. 3/90, those both reduce by 3, so that gives us 1/30th. So you can say then that one's not equal as well. And finally, 4/110, those both reduce by a factor of 2 to give us 2/55. So you can see that none of those rates are equal. So the number of miles is not proportional to the number of hours. Now let's look at some examples where we talk about that constant of proportionality. So we have the cost for 2.5 pounds of meat is $2.70. We need to write an equation that relates the cost of pounds to meat. And then we want to figure out how much 4 pounds will cost. But before we do this, we first need to find the unit rate. How much is 1 pound of meat? So we're going to take our cost and we're going to divide it by 2.5 pounds. And that's going to give us the unit rate. So 720 divided by 2.5 is $2.88 per pound. Now it asks us to write an equation that relates the cost to the pounds of meat. So in order to write the equation, what we're going to say is that the cost is equal to $2.88 times the pounds. Now we can plug in any amount of pounds and find out how much our cost will be. In this case, 4 pounds. So we're going to take 288 times 4, and our cost is going to be $11.52 for 4 pounds. So we need to find a unit rate. Then we need to write an equation and make sure you're relating the right variables. The cost is equal to 288 times the number of pounds. Make sure you don't get those flip-flopped. Let's look at a fourth example here if you want to pause the video and try this one on your own. So here we have Luke earned $54 after mowing 3 lawns. Write an equation comparing the earnings to lawns mowed. And how much would Luke earn after mowing 7 lawns? So again, we need to find how much he earned per lawn, or the unit rate. So we're going to take $54 divided by the 3 lawns. 54 divided by 3 is 18, so he earns $18 per lawn. But now we want, excuse me, now we want an equation that compares his earnings to the lawns mowed. So his earnings will equal $18 times L, or the number of lawns that he mows. And this asks how much does he earn after mowing 7 lawns. So his earnings would be $18 times 7, which is $126. So he earns $126 for mowing 7 lawns. In class, we'll look at some more examples with proportions, and we'll work on worksheet 6-4.